you cannot deny the fact that when Deegan was on that track, and, you know, Logan Best is not in the class, Cochran wasn't there, he was injured. You know, obviously Yannick from Cowie did a great job stepping up. You know, when Casey came out, he didn't just get second, he was very hyper competitive there. But to your point, when Deegan got on the gate, there was 10 to 15 people deep all the way around the track. So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind at all times, is he is a marketing genius. His dad, his sister, his little brother now, they do a great job. I do agree with you 100%. Everybody should be thankful that that media program does show up. They are first class in regards to 3 cameramen. Everything is, you know, I'm going to say everything is staged, but nothing is missed. They're always very good on the angles. But hey, bottom line, you get out there on that track and you watch Deegan. Like I said, horsepower on that bike is undeniable. He was struggling to keep that front end down coming out of every corner, you know, besides the one incident, which, you know, I've had some people bring it up to my attention that said that was not a false neutral. Deegan did not miss a gear. I don't know. I wasn't trackside. I didn't see his forward momentum. You know, when you hit false neutral, a lot of times you'll see the body go forward. I didn't see any of that. I do know there was a lot of looking around. I still don't understand why Deegan popped out of that rut and went after Yannick's front wheel. I don't really understand the reason why.
So to me, and as a rider and as somebody who gets passed a lot because I cruise these days, when someone passes you and they throw a big whip right in front of you, it's attitude. Yannick threw a giant whip off that tabletop right in front of him. And you could almost see Deegan's body positioning change. Even Kevin Kelly said it too at the same time. And then he went after him the next turn. And before he went after him, I was like, oh, he's not going to like that. And he went after him.
I have a significant problem with that. And I actually put it on an Instagram post. To me, it shows the double standard, because if he does it, all the fans think, oh, look at that killer whip he just threw, Barsha style. But then all of a sudden the Superboy gets it thrown at him, and the first thing he goes into is retaliation mode. So I have a problem with that. You know what I mean? So good on Yannick. I didn't see it as a in your face. I just think, you know, whether you want to call it a scrub, shaving off speed, whatever. If I've only been around Yannick one time off the track when I was working with another rider. Yannick's personality is not an in your face kind. His dad will grab him like a chicken. His dad would not put up with that. Just you race.
Here's the thing. When you have a rider as high profile as Deegan, everyone wants to race him hard. Yannick saw that and went a little extra. And I don't think Deegan appreciated, like, hey, you're going to ride at 90% and then I pass you and you go to 120. That was a little bit of it too, in my mind. And I don't know, I can't read Deegan's mind. And he came back in a post and said, no, that was no big deal. And I was just having fun racing him. And he said he didn't miss a gear. He didn't shift, or he hit to the lower gear. So he still had speed, but it wasn't like he went to neutral, but he went from like 4th to 3rd. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
So he's not going to clear the jump. And instead of holding his line, he moved to the right to get out of the way. 9 times out of 10, you move right underneath the guy, that's what he did. That's a learning experience. Shit happens.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to argue it just for the sake of time. You know, we all of us saw the exact same camera angle, unless you were sitting on the infield and saw it. So we could all speculate, spitball, and armchair quarterback. All I know is what preceded that I thought was a little bit ridiculous. Again, I have a hard time when somebody likes to serve it up but can't take it being served back. And that's the way that I perceived Deegan was. Like when he jumped out of the rut and just went right for Yannick's front wheel. I mean, come on, if you're going to race bar to bar, let's race. Rubbin's racing, that's one thing, but chopping the front wheel for Coach, absolutely no reason.
Put him down. He just made sure he solidified the pass, because Yannick was going crazy to get back on him. So he's solidifying the pass. He's giving up time, and it probably wasn't the right move. But dude, it wasn't that dirty, Coach. It was not.
He goes out of the rut and then slows down and looks at. I mean, fuck, just race. Just race, Coach. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, you and I grew up with Matasevich and Chick
that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Bradshaw, right?
Yeah. And that I'm fine with it. That's just racing to me. And if a guy's going to race me hard and throw a whip,
I thought it was childish.
If I'm going to take his line and get in front of him and block him. Now, if he cleans his front tire out and puts him on the ground, maybe I have a different opinion of it. And then you're going to hurt somebody. Nobody's getting hurt there. That's just fun racing, in my opinion. And we all are talking about it. For me, I miss that type of stuff. And I think we've gone too soft, and one kid does it and we're all after it. So
no, I'll totally agree with, we've gotten too soft. I just would have rather, where Yannick was on that outside lane and then you had Deegan on that inside. If their lane comes together and then they get to rub elbows and rub some plastic, I'm all about it. But to jump out of the middle lane and go straight out to lane 3 and then brake check them, to me, it just seems, to me, that's not rubbing and racing. That's just child's play to me. And Deegan was by far faster. He should have just been. And did you see the next moto when he went around Yannick? He took lane 3, went all the way around him. Like, I'm not even going to get involved with this. And it was boring for us.
See, now that's what he learned.
Yeah.
Because he went, oh, if I block him, and then he's close. And then if I make a mistake, he jumps on me. Whereas if I rail the inside, he's probably not even going to be close enough, even if I make a mistake, to jump on me.
But go back and watch the video. That wasn't the lesson he learned was you should have just taken the inside line and been gone. But instead you jumped out of the line, go out, you brake check them, you look around, you look like why are you doing this? This isn't, second moto. It's not like championships on the line. Cause we've seen that, of course, guys trying to hold each other. I understand when the championship's on the line, but to jump out of the second rut, to just go straight after Yannick, and then it's to be justified on a tail whip. I don't know. It just seems a little bit, again, you can dish it, but you can't take it. And then because he got the bad end of the stick on over that jump, then it looks like, oh, well, I don't know. There seems like there's a lot of chapters to try to justify the behavior of, I went out of the second lane, went out to lane 3, brake checked him. Then also I go over the jump. I look to my left. I happen to get jumped on the right. Like you say, you look in the right, you know how it is. You look left, you drift right. It just worst possible scenario. And then he just goes right into explanation, excuse. I don't know, but I don't know. I know Yannick's a great kid. He's just racing, but I just thought it was a little childish at the level that Deegan's at. He could have been long gone. And it cost him a championship, unfortunately.
I don't know, because maybe, but I'll tell you what, it's just, the one thing I would do if I had my kid and he was around Deegan's age, I would find out what class Deegan's racing, and I'd put him in that class every time.
Absolutely agree.
Because every single kid he rides with, he's literally Yannick. Do you think I'd ever know his name before this?
That's
Even
right.
if he wins.
Yep.
If it's not the Deegan class, I don't know his name. And that's kind of what I wanted to go to with a little bit of these kids is everybody seems to look the same. Mm-hmm. If I'm one of these parents that's going there year in and year out, my kid is going to have his own shtick. There was a kid in the C class. He had a little yellow, terrible towel. Did you see that?
No.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, that's his shtick. Terrible towel hanging off the side. Kevin Kelly's talking about it. Cool, not cool. I remember him.
That's right.
In this era, in this media-driven era, it's not just about speed. You need to be memorable. There was one kid that wears purple gear. Purple rain gear is what Kevin Kelly called that too. And there's these kids that do these certain things. If you're going to go there year in and year out, find a shtick. Not even a shtick, just something you like and stay on brand. Because that's what Deegan's done, and that's kind of how they built it. And why not learn from those guys?
Yeah, learn from the best. It doesn't make sense to do it any other way. And you and I have talked about this off the record with Hopper. The crazy part is Yannick could have gone out and won the race. And what's the headline going to be? Deegan didn't win. It's like when you were playing against Tiger Woods. I've used this example on our show before, growing up and going to high school with Chris DeMarco, he's in a shootout with Tiger. It's sudden death. I believe it was at Augusta. And it wasn't, if Tiger had lost, it would have been Tiger lost, not that DeMarco won. And it's just like you're saying, to put your son up against that marketing monster. And I agree with you in your original comment. Your son's going to be a better rider because he raced against Deegan. There's just no two ways about it. Being from Florida and being around Dade City, Tim Ferry grew up there. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael. Some of the best have come through there. And you can't tell me that those guys that had a chance to get gate drops with them growing up, you're looking at that going, hey, I remember when I used to race again. You've got that. How many guys have you raced against that went on to go to bigger and better things? And you're like, I remember banging bars with those guys, Yeah,
they raised the level.
No, I agree with you on that.
But I do want to address one thing you said about Deegan. His bike is fast, but his corner speed was even faster, Coach. He was using a technique. Clearly, he's been watching Tomac and Roxon. He's been standing up all the way through those ruts, toes in. He looks like a miniature Tomac or Roxon going through those corners. And just watch the middle of the corner speed. And why he's doing a wheelie is because he hit it so fast. It was just, he was ripping. Yeah, he's got a fast bike, but his corner speed is why he was going so fast and probably made his bike look even faster.
Well, and it's like you and I've talked about numerous times. The biggest thing that I always look at is, are the riders riding the bike to its ability? And in that case, I felt like Deegan was taking that rip-roaring bike and riding it to its ability, which was poetry in motion. Corner speed, scrub speed, entrance into rough stuff. I mean, it was poetry in motion. It'll be interesting to see. I've heard that he's going to skip the 125 and go right to the 250 class. I'll be very interested to see if he's able to handle that heavier bike a little bit, quite a bit more horsepower if he goes to that straight up. I don't know if he would go to a full-blown star race bike, but I can't imagine it's going to be detuned that much. But that'll be a real litmus test because he just doesn't have the girth necessary to jump on a 250. You see him on the podium with his shirt off. He's not that big when you're looking at a 250 factory bike. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to handle that. But he definitely had the power of that KTM 85 handle.
I'll say this, watching his technique, he's ready for a 250, in my opinion. The way he rides the bike, he's not muscling it. He's riding it. So I think he'll be fine.
No, it'll be good. Well, we will see. I mean, we've seen what Jet Lawrence has done when he flows, and he's not a super husky guy, but when he's flowing, like you said, I would love for Deegan to prove me wrong. Everybody in the sport would love to see him get up there and just shake it up the way Levi Kitchen has done and the Star Yamaha guys have done. Just get right in the mix of things,
Yeah. And then I just want to give a quick shout out before we get into the open pro sport. Sophia Phelps, dude. I told you she was good, man.
Yeah, you called it.
I thought she'd be good, and I figured she'd win. I thought she'd win a moto, be in the mix. But Taylor Allred and some of those girls, Hannah Hodges, they're so fast, and to just go in there and essentially catch from behind and dominate.
Yeah.
Did you expect that?
No, not at all. In all fairness, I was completely blown away when you invited me to come out to Western and do that camp, and you guys have those 2.5-inch ruts. And to see her ride that well in that Loretta dirt with, 3-foot braking bumps and 9 lines. Our buddy Hopper did a great job giving MX Sports credit for the TV coverage. And the thing that I wanted to add to it is that drone coverage. They're over those corners. And I mentioned it to Michaela when we were there in the lookout tower. The guy that's flying the drone, I've never seen somebody that's as, because there were wires all the way around the perimeter of that, trees everywhere. But when he would follow those leaders and you could look straight down and you could see 4, 5, 6 definitive ruts, and you could see that nothing was pretty, if I may use that term, that no one rut was a perfect arc. It had so many ins and outs, and it was really cool because, when you're a spectator and you're watching from your side, you're like, why would he take that line? And then all of a sudden you see that drone footage and you're like, oh, no wonder why he's going to a 45-degree angle, because halfway through that corner, there's a snake in the line. Drone coverage was unbelievable. And to your point, when you look at those girls and to watch her come through on dirt that she doesn't normally ride, that's what impressed me. All those girls are bad to the bone, but to watch her on dirt that she doesn't normally ride. Now, maybe she came east and did a boot camp. I don't know. Maybe but I thought she did phenomenal with her dirt experience.
You'll notice there's a lot of Utah kids out there this year.
Yeah.
It's because of the RMX series that the the Bruffs, they had 3 kids in the open pro sport. They run a series. They rip it so deep and water it. They make it nasty. So these kids are ready when they go to a national.
Props,
and clearly it's working.
Yeah.